Greetings, one and all, to the most cursed, most cringiest corner of the internet. A YouTube channel content creator actively alienating everyone in both the analog and digital world. Well, welcome and good evening, you wonderful dice of all alignments. I am Lunar Dee Eight. You talk too much. All you have to do is honestly say, I'll kill you. Yeah, if those are the words you want, I'll say them. This is the first and last wish of yours that I'll lend an ear to. I thank you. Very well. Let us begin, battler. Yes, the time for the witch hunt has come. Try and chase me, try and corner me, try and kill me. I expect a lot from you. Try and show me what your little sister gave you in her last moments. Bring it on. Battlers cry. Burn the world with a white light, and if you opened your eyes amidst the darkness, the two of them could be seen in a rose garden. Who shall make the first move? Me. How bold. In the rose garden, beautiful rose petals danced. The color of those rose petals was red. Did the fact that they faced each other in this beautiful rose garden prove or make claim to a red single truth? That must be why the roses are red. But in the language of flowers, roses represent passion, not truth. The flower for truth is a forget-me-not, and that flower is blue. I'll bore through everything with my blue truth. From the very beginning of everything, I'll start from the very first game. Very well, let's see what you've got. Come. Here I go. I've already proclaimed it, but I'll say it again. This isn't just for the murder of Dr. Nanjo in the last game. This will tear apart every scene from every game since the beginning. Ushiromiya Kenzo is already dead, so the true number of people on the island is 17. After all, Battler himself never once saw Kenzo, or heard him. Did he? Well, did we hear Kenzo's voice? I don't think we did. I think every time it was always relayed through Kairi or somebody. Kenzo never directly held the phone, and while Kenzo would say that he could hear Battler from the other end of the phone, Battler himself never actually heard Kenzo's voice. So we've never heard Kenzo's voice or even seen him alive. So there's no way of proving that Kenzo... And it's like, oh, but Kairi told you. Was it Kairi, though? The ventriloquism's not that hard of a thing. It's something beyond me, but... And of course, nowadays, with AI voice changers, you could literally sound like anyone. You could literally make a video or a voice of anything or anyone. I mean, there's videos of Martin Luther King Jr. in... WWE wrestling matches giving speeches. At this point, you can fake just about anything. So, at this point, the difference between magic and technology is just like, what, 40 years? I'm not even that old. By adding in an unknown person X, that makes 18 people. By supposing the existence of this person X, the crime is possible even if all 17 people have alibis. By this, even though the number of people reaches 18, it's still possible for culprit X to exist and carry out crimes, even if all 18 people seem to have alibis. You can break through all of the murders in Episode 1 by supposing an unknown person X. Furthermore, it's even possible to explain the mystery of Kenzo's evaporation from the closed room sealed by the receipt, by making the bold assumption that Kenzo wasn't there in the first place, unless Beato counters this with the red truth. The illusion of the witch from Episode 1 has been completely smashed. This blue truth is valid. The wedge of blue truth that Battler had thrown stabbed right through the top of Beato's left foot. Was the red pouring out of there a protest being made by her red truth? Beato shut one of her eyes tight, enduring the unbearable pain of the blue truth that denied her. Not bad. But I mustn't be denied yet. I mustn't be killed yet. This is not yet enough. In the subsequent games, there were mysteries that couldn't be explained with that alone, right? Which mysteries? In the final stages of the second game, George took Goda and Shannon with him, barricaded them in Natsui's room, and was killed. The key that unlocked Natsui's room was locked up inside the room, and all the remaining keys that could unlock the door were in Rosa's hand. Okay. Is Rosa the killer? Even if a culprit X existed, it should have been impossible to construct that closed room. The blue wedge that pierced Beato shook. She was resisting, fighting to pull it out. No, that doesn't shake my blue truth. If culprit X were to obtain a master key, that's not even close to a closed room. No, it was impossible for the culprit to obtain one. All of the master keys were under Rosa's control. But that's meaningless if Aunt Rosa was the culprit. Aunt Rosa handed a key over to the culprit X by some method assisting in the closed room murder, and after that she retrieved the key by a similar method. Too naive, Beato. I'd already guessed that much at the time. Cackle, yes you did, didn't you? Grr. Ack. The wedge that had been gradually losing its sparkle had seemed as though it was about to be pulled out, regained its strong blue again thanks to Battler's additional blue truth, and dug into Beato again, eating into her foot. And keep in mind, each of these people only have a 1 minute tops to counter. However, with each counter, it extends the clock by a minute. Beato let out a cry of anguish at that pain. Not yet. This is still nothing. 'Tis just a flesh wound. Not yet, not yet. On to the third game. The 6 linked closed rooms, the murders of Aunt Rosa, Maria, Dad, and the rest's deaths in the halls, the murders of Uncle Kraus and Aunt Natsui. And the reason why you could have some people die earlier in other games, it would be this. You have multiple people that are assisting the culprit. But the culprit is betraying them and killing them off in different orders. But in every game, those same people are either accomplices or were planned to be accomplices from the culprit from the beginning. Whether or not the culprit actually was able to reach out to them or get their assistance. It could be that in some games the culprit did reach out to them, tried to get their assistance, and they turned them down. Or that all these people were in on it to begin with, but you betray them in different orders. All of that can be explained if we suppose that Aunt Ava was the culprit. This argument was already won back then, and even the final riddle you proposed through Ava, the murder of Dr. Nanjo, can be explained with an 18th unknown person X. That breaks through the whole third game. Can you counter that? So we at least have that Ava and one other unknown person is a culprit, and that Rosa is an accomplice. Perhaps even Cannon is an accomplice. Who knows? Can you counter that? Gua. Of course. This much is nothing to worry about. In that case, how do you explain George's disappearance from the guest house? I shall add to the red truth. George did not go down the stairs of the guest house. He flew out through the window. In the final stages of the third game, George suddenly vanished from the second floor of the guest house. Ava, who had been on the first floor, claimed that no one had come downstairs, but because of the blue truth, George could have snuck down to the first floor and escaped while Ava was busy carrying Kraus and Natsui's corpses outside. But by adding an additional red truth, Beato had denied that possibility. To go outside without going down the staircase to the first floor, he would have had to leave by the window, but all the windows have been locked from the inside. So what? It's just like you said. He flew out the window, right? There was a lawn, so we couldn't tell if he'd jumped down, and it was raining so hard. Any light traces would have disappeared. I'll use the red truth again. All windows and doors leading to the outside were locked from the inside. Furthermore, it is impossible to lock any of those from the outside. This means Ava, when she came back in, saw the window open and closed it. George had no technique by which to lock them. I'll use more of the blue. I said it myself at the time. In that case, everything works out as long as someone locked the window after George and Nikki escaped through it. Nothing difficult about that. Wah! Can I not escape after something like this? Beato couldn't remove the blue wedge that was buried into her foot. The fake witch was burned more and more by that forceful blue. Ow, my eyes. There's still nothing that shakes my blue truth in any of the first 3 games. In that case, the only game that can prove you're a witch is this game, the 4th game. Since I haven't countered you with the red, that is so. I shall have to prove witches using only this game. Very well. Give me everything you've got. There's nothing strange about the murder of the 6 people in the dining hall. The 18th person X went wild with a gun and killed everyone. As for the pitfalls, there's a chance that the pitfalls truly were hidden there. And it's possible to explain it using Kyrie's theory, supposing the poison dart shooting device X, which can knock a person out, instantly exists. The murders of George, Nikki, Jessica, and those who escaped from the dungeon can also be explained with guns, just like the dining hall. There's nothing strange about it. But I'm sure you've got a counterattack, right? Bring it on. Your greatest sword, the 18th person X, is based on the theory that Kenzo was already dead. I knew you would make that claim. That's why I took Kenzo out of his study. All members in the family conference welcomed that Kenzo, right? All of those present at the family conference acknowledged the presence of Kenzo. Okay, but here's the thing. First off, 6 of them died instantly. Maria, who apparently met with Kenzo, also died before I met her. That being said, the 5 other people that were there to seek Kenzo, well, all of them died before I met them in person, and only one of them was able to actually speak with me since the issue of Kenzo. Technically, we did hear from everyone inside the dungeon, but let's be clear. They're obviously under duress. They're in a fucking dungeon. They could have been made to lie to me. And at some point, voices could have been faked. All we did was we heard somebody over the phone tell us they saw Kenzo. That's right. But grandfather was seriously ill, bedridden on the verge of life and death, right? If he was so worn out that he looked like a different person, maybe nobody would have cared, right? I'll counter with this. That grandfather was a different person, a body double. A different person the relatives mistook for grandfather. I mean, they hadn't seen him in a long time anyway. Then I'll counter with this. No person would mistake Ushiromiya Kenzo by sight. No matter what disguise might be used, they would not mistake Ushiromiya Kenzo by sight. Then I'll use this. In the second game, when you announced with the red truth that there were 5 master keys, even though there could have been more than 5 in the first game, you changed the premises of the later games, so it's possible that Kenzo's life or death status was changed for the 4th game alone. Therefore, Kenzo's presence in the 4th game doesn't serve as proof that he was present in the previous games. Therefore, even if we suppose that the 6 murders in the dining hall were carried out by grandfather, it contradicts nothing. Then let me counter this way. Kenzo's life or death status is the same at the start of all 4 games. The setup was no different for the 4th game alone. Repeat it. Kenzo was alive at the start of every game. I refuse to repeat it. I won't answer, Battler. I won't give you the red truth you so desire. Damn, you're standing in my way, geezer. Are you putting yourself on the line to protect Beatrice, this most beloved witch of yours? Swaying that damn geezer came into view. Ha, Is he trying to be some kind of knight, blocking the path between me and Beato? Cackle. Battler. Are you capable of surpassing me? I won't let you reach. I will not let you reach not to the Golden Witch's height. You see. Fuahahaha. Your thoughtless reasoning cannot surpass even me alone. Die. Kinzo's jet-black robe spread as though it would swallow the world, becoming the snout of a vast black dragon that came at me, trying to swallow me in one gulp. Faced with that black dragon's roar, I calmed my breathing and closed my eyes tightly. I'll swallow you up in a single gulp. Disappear, inexperienced fool. Quiet, you damn undying ghost. Oh, so you call me a ghost, so you intend to see it through to the end, this theory that I am already dead. That will prove fatal to you. Be swallowed up by the first twilight of the fourth game and disappear. The black dragon's vast mouth, its snout, its fangs swallowed Battler whole. In that instant, Battler suddenly opened his eyes. Thanks, Beatrice. Your third game became a foothold for my counterattack. What? See ya, damn geezer. This is goodbye. As a basis for claiming that Kinzo was dead even in the fourth game, I propose the following theory. Very well, come with all you have, my descendant. Here I go, you damn geezer. My theory is that the name of Kinzo gets passed on as a title of the Ushiromiya family head. Ushiromiya Kinzo was already dead, and he passed that name on to someone else. Everyone acknowledged that. That way, all of those present at the family conference acknowledged the presence of Kinzo. There wasn't even any need for someone to disguise themselves as grandfather, because everyone acknowledged a new Kinzo. So, they didn't actually mistake Kinzo by sight. As long as this theory is not denied, nothing can change the fact that you're dead. This is the final blow. Damn geezer, I demand that you repeat it. Among all of the people there, not one had multiple different names. I cannot. Gah, gua, gua, gua. Rest in peace, damn geezer. Thank me. You are finally able to die. This is your requiem. Take it and drop dead. Ushiromiya Kinzo was already dead. That's right, you definitely deserve to be pitied, since whenever we find your corpse, it's always completely burnt. That was a device to hide the fact that time had passed since your death. Then you passed that name on to someone else. With this theory, even though you were dead, Kinzo was able to appear at the family conference. How's that? This is checkmate. Several dozen blue stakes bored into Kinzo's ghost. Their terrible destructive power wouldn't let the ghost recover again. Beatrice. Kinzo, thank you for everything. Rest in peace. I will not forget my time spent with you. Dispersing along with the shadow of the black dragon as golden flower petals scattered, Ushiromiya Kinzo became a gold-colored cyclone and disappeared. Even after death, he had fought for the sake of the woman he loved. There is no doubting that your love and madness were the real thing. Battler. Don't hate me. Let the dead sleep. Don't wake them. You're up next. This is the end for you too. Beato still couldn't pull out the blue wedge that pierced her foot. She realized that she was on the verge of death. I've gone along with you a whole bunch. I think I've more than fulfilled any responsibility I had to play with you, but it's about time to finish things up. I've got a lonely little sister waiting at home. Let me take my leave of my whole family. Then kill me. In that case, try and kill me. I won't run or hide, and by now I won't even be able to avoid it. Come on, Ushiromiya Battler. You've got it. With the 18th person X from the Kinzo was dead theory, everything that remained has been pierced through. I think the biggest issue, Battler, is this. If witches and magic don't exist, how are we having this conversation? George, Nikki, and Jessica's deaths in the fourth game can also be explained by Culprit X, and the 5 who escaped from the dungeon were killed, and the 2 in the gardening shed, and Maria in the end. All of these can be explained with the 18th person X. There's nothing strange there at all. With this, I have fully explained the culprit using humans for all games. Beatrice, this is checkmate. The problem is this. It leaves us an 18th person who is still alive, along with possibly Cannon, who might, but it's been proclaimed he's dead. Well, he may have been an accomplice and killed later. And of course, there's concerns about Natsui, Ava, and Rosa. Maybe even Kyrie if I want to be a jerk. Beatrice, who couldn't dodge, had several blue stakes driven into her and was skewered. Beato grabbed them, trying to pull them out somehow. Ugh, they got me. It hurts. This'll kill me, won't it? If I don't pull these out, I'll die. I've had enough of the pain. I've had enough of the anguish. With both hands, Beato firmly grasped one of the blue stakes. Naturally, the power of the witch denying blue truth burned her hands. Unable to even hide her tears of the pain, Beato howled and tried to pull the stakes out with all her might. If I can't pull these out, I'll die. This is my final counterattack. Then, Battler, how do you explain my several acts of magic? The very first time those appeared was in the second game when I fixed Maria's pumpkin marshmallow. At the time, Rosa definitely witnessed that magic. Certainly at that time, Rosa witnessed gold butterflies gathering and fixing of a marshmallow by the miracle of magic. Cackle. Rosa alone witnessing it isn't very credible, right? That's why I increased the number of witnesses to the utmost limit later on, which is why happened in the last game. The summoning of my minions, and the brutal murders due to magic. All of those were witnessed by a great many people. That is itself proof that my magic exists. How do you explain that, Ushiromiya Battler? Stalemate. But what? Magic exists because magic exists. Didn't the rules of our Brown Tube trials say that you couldn't use that kind of argument? Yes, you're right. No matter who, or how many people, witnessed magic, that cannot become proof of magic's existence. Whether all the magic you've shown exists or not, I can ignore it all and explain things with humans. That's my undeniable right. Am I wrong? At those words, the blue stakes let out an even brighter light, knocking my hands away. Seems I can't pull them out after all. As Battler is now, even if I pull up a witness for each individual bit of magic and demand an explanation, he'll probably use some kind of move to deny all of them. Not just the magic with the marshmallow I showed Rosa, but all the miracles of magic. So I can no longer even claim to be a witch without questioning him about something like how a marshmallow was fixed. I am in such an inferior position that I must fight over such trivialities. It may be impossible for me. I know that. This was to be a game without victory from the very beginning, so it was only natural that the day of my defeat would eventually come. Have I fought up until today just to lose to Battler? I began the game thinking that I might be able to win. Even if I wouldn't be able to win easily, I believed that in the game repeating endlessly a miracle would eventually occur. After all, I had certain willpower on my side, an unwavering desire to win with certainty. However, I've now lost that miracle completely, and that certain willpower resides in Battler, leaving me, certainly, without even a 1 in a million chance at a miracle. Or perhaps I should say I've been left without a miracle or certainty. I will have no victory and no end through a tie. The only resolution allowed me is to continue on resisting until defeat is given to me in this game. That's right, I am fighting only to be killed by Battler. I looked into Battler's eyes. That which was reflected inside them wasn't me. To the figures... the figures of the little sister waiting for his return, and the family he had to bring back were reflected in those eyes. To him, my existence is already not even that of an individual, obviously. From the very beginning, he has been trying to deny that individual that I am. Yes, that last game sure was fun. I was only tricking him a bit, but for just a short period of time I felt like we understood each other and that was fun. That's right. I should have made my move then. I should have continued for eternity with Battler still totally fooled. But that's just no good, right? That just wouldn't be true victory. Is this checkmate, Beatrice? Beato had been run through with several blue stakes, skewered all over and over to the ground while still standing. Because of that, she wasn't even able to fall over, and still looking up into the sky was sewn in place. That tragic form might have been a fitting end for the cruel witch who had endlessly toyed with 18 people's lives, who had killed constantly for hundreds and thousands of years. Gently, as though someone was mourning over something, rain began to fall. Amid the rain, Beato was soaked and crucified. Is it over, Beato? Can't even let out a squeak. Not yet. You aren't a woman who will let things end with just this. Don't be ridiculous. How can you look at this and think that it isn't over? Quickly deliver the final blow. Just say it with your blue truth. According to this, witches do not exist. Say it. Just say it. With that single blow, just put a stop to my breathing. It's useless. Ho? So you would expose me to even further shame? Isn't it settled already? Stand up. Our brawl still isn't over. Not over, you say. That just now wasn't you losing. You just stopped and gave up. Isn't that enough? Wouldn't giving up mean your victory? You should return to your little sister right away. Just throw me away right here. Didn't I tell you? I won't run away, and I won't let you run away either. Just who are you, and what in the world is it that you want? If you want to know, why don't you just try your favorite move? Isn't it better this way? With me as a mere delusion, an illusion, isn't that enough? It's all useless. I won't let you run away. I'll break through you. How could I let you run away like this? I won't let you run back to the darkness of illusions while you're still all hazy like this. I'll break through you. Completely. So stand up. Don't act all frail like that. You're still hiding several moves. I can tell. Why won't you just let me escape? Dad, Mom, and Angie, all the cousins and all the relatives, and all the servants. You toyed with them so much and killed them. I definitely won't forgive that inhumanity. I can still feel Angie's arms on my shoulders. I won't forgive your inhumanity, so I won't let you get away like this. Battler's eyes burned with flames of hatred. The time had long since passed during which pitiful behavior would have earned his compassion. After being tricked once, Battler will never sympathize with me again. Instead of the wolves and sheep puzzle, this is like the boy who cried wolf, isn't it? What am I supposed to do? What should I do? Is fighting endlessly only to avoid admitting defeat a fitting endless torture for the endless witch? Is endlessly harassing Battler to avoid giving him victory also part of being the endless witch? It's so sad. Is this what the endless magic is? I've had enough. I've had enough of this endlessly being toyed with by witches. I will have no victory and no tie. In that case, there's only one result that can release me. Humph, ha ha ha. Since the time that I succumbed to the path of witches, since the day I made that contract with demons, it was promised that I would meet my end through tragedy, was it not? What's wrong, Golden Witch Beatrice? If you are the ruler of Rockinjima, show me a majesty fitting for that, even at the very end. Lightning. The world was smashed with white. Fitting last moments for the ruler of Rockinjima. Ha 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 ha. Still pierced by the blue stakes, Beato faced the rainy sky and let out a cry of laughter. Then she slowly raised her face and stared at Battler. Fool! Just when I was about to praise your good fight and hand over victory. You shall regret that pride. This isn't something for you to hand over. I'm gonna take it from you. That same goes for you, right? You could never accept an easygoing victory where I just say maybe witness witches existing isn't so bad. Isn't that the very reason you intentionally fell apart like that at the end, the last game? That's right, last game you took pity on me. Just once, didn't you? So now I'll pay back that debt. Stand. My enemy, my golden witch, Beatrice. Ha ha ha, fool. You fool, ha ha ha. You simpleton. You think you'll get another chance? Screaming ah noise. Ah! It's like she's powering up the Kaioken. Ah! When Beato yelled, the blue stakes that had pierced her chest blew to bits and disappeared. However, the blue wedge that had pierced her foot in the very beginning did not vanish. You can't pull it out yet. You can't pull out the blue truth of the 18th person X. I will respond to one thing you told me to repeat. You reason Kenzo's already dead at the starting time for all games. However, this means that you can take one person out. Before now, I have proclaimed that no more than 18 humans exist on this island. I will lower that by 1 for Kenzo. No more than 17 humans exist on this island. That excludes any 18th person. In short, this 18th person, Person X, does not exist. This applies to all games. What do you know? Looks like you're still hiding some pretty crazy stuff up your sleeve after all. The island, which had no more than 17 humans on it, had been set up to appear as though there were 18. Taking one off makes it 17, so we finally reached the correct number. This way, the wedge I knocked into you has been removed. We'll have to start the fight over, back from square one. The blue wedge that had sewn into Beato in place broke apart. There was no longer anything piercing her. The scars on her body had disappeared completely. There stood, just as Battler had hoped for, the figure of the majestic golden witch who ruled Rakanjima. Then come, Battler, once more from the beginning. Try and break through everything with the blue truth. I too will no longer play, run, or hide. If you are worthless, then I shall end this match right here, right now. With my grand victory, I'll make you regret your refusal to compromise for all eternity. Come, starting from the first game. Right. From the first twilight of the first game, there's nothing strange with the murder of 6 relatives that were found in the guarding shed at the start. The crime was possible for any of those who didn't have an alibi. Valid. Continue. What about the next closed room of Ava and Hideyoshi? Even the chain for the set was set for that closed room. I shall add the red truth. Both deaths were homicides. It is not the case that after the construction of the closed room, one of them committed suicide after committing murder. Furthermore, the murder was carried out with both the victim and the perpetrator in the same room. No method exists for the perpetrator to commit the murder from outside the room. Suppose that the culprit was a human without an alibi. In other words, the dead. We weren't able to identify some of the first 6 corpses because of the smashed faces. Maybe one was actually a disguised corpse and culprit X killed those 2 after making us think they were a victim hiding away. Then, after the closed room murder was constructed, the culprit hid under the bed and waited for all of us to come and leave. Yes, very well. Next. Cannon was killed in the boiler room, correct? I shall add to the red truth. All of the survivors have alibis. Let us include the dead as well. In short, no kind of human or dead person on the island could have killed Cannon. If no one could kill him, then he might have been the one to kill. Cannon-kun might have killed himself. Repeat it. Cannon-kun did not commit suicide. Cannon did not commit suicide. One more. Repeat it. Cannon-kun's death was a homicide. I refuse to repeat it. By that refusal, it may be possible to view it as a homicide, but you've already proclaimed and read that no one could have killed him. In other words, it wasn't a homicide. This is the same as linked closed rooms from the third game. Cannon-kun died for a reason that was neither suicide nor homicide. The details are unknown, but he died due to an accident. Because of the devil's proof, I refuse to explain what kind of blunderer could have led to an accidental death where a stake was driven into his chest. Oh, now that you have borrowed the power of the demons, you are without peer. It is valid. In that case, what about the murders? After that, in the parlor, Genji, Nanjo, and Kumasawa. Naturally, Maria, who was in the same room, did not kill them. And of course, their 3 deaths were homicides. We can explain those murders with culprit X, who hid away using an unidentified corpse. After all, those 3 had their faces smashed. It is completely possible that one of them was a body double corpse. I guarantee the identities of all unidentified corpses. Therefore, there were no body double tricks. Then you can explain it with simultaneous murders. Each of them had a gun pointed clockwise and blew each other's faces off at the same time. After that, Maria collected the guns and hid them. How about that? What? What a ridiculous argument! How amusing. Then what about Natsui in the end? I shall add to the red truth. Natsui's death was a homicide. There were no unidentified corpses, and all the survivors have alibis. You can explain it with an indirect murder due to a trap X. Something was done on Natsui's gun. It could have been a trap gun built to send a bullet right into the forehead of anyone who tried to hold it up and shoot it. The bullet bared Natsui's forehead was not fired from her gun. It's possible that Aunt Natsui was lured out by that letter, whose contents were unknown. She was called out into the hall. Then she was forced to stand at a specified location at a specified time and murdered by Trap X, which used a gun that had been installed there beforehand. Wonderful! These reckless arguments of yours are even starting to feel pleasurable now. Out of respect, I shall hand the first game over to you. Well done. Gah! The instant Beato acknowledged her defeat in the first game, the stakes of the blue truth once again pierced her chest, letting out a terrible sound. Gah! This is still hardly painful, and it's not over yet. Come, now for the second game. Beato just barely pulled out the stakes that had pierced her chest, but even though there was no hole left behind, she still seemed to be bearing a deep wound that was letting out a massive amount of blood, and she was tormented by an equally fierce pain. But Beato grinned, grinding her teeth, and pushed for the next game to start. But I won't feel sympathy for her. Just by her existing there, we've been killed and harassed over and over, and Angie's been burdened with a future of isolation. Correct. Just by my being here and laughing, this eternal hell will continue. I won't give your little sister back. Let her cry over the family that shall not return for the next 1,000 years. Damn it. No compassion, no mercy. On to the second game. I'll start with the first crime. Right after it happened, I penetrated to the truth of the closed room murder where the 6 were killed in the chapel. Someone secretly borrowed Maria's key and secretly returned it to Maria's bag after the crime was over. From the time Maria received her key to the instant Rosa unsealed the envelope the next day, the key passed through no one's hands. That door might have had an auto lock just like Gramps' study. In other words, it was unlocked before the crime with a rock or something wedged in so that it couldn't close completely. Then someone gave the key to Maria. The lock was automatic, so it's possible to make a theory that the key wasn't needed. There were no doors of auto locks other than Kenzo's study. The victims locked the door from the inside. One of the 6 was the culprit, and this person killed the other 5, then pretended to be dead. The 6 were already dead by the time they were discovered. All of their deaths were homicides. All 6 were genuine victims and did not take part in a mutual murder. There was no simultaneous murder. There were people, Kumasawa-san in particular, who had no alibi at the time. If we assume that someone was hiding on the inside, then we've got no problems. There was no one hiding in the chapel. Therefore, the shut-in murder you suggest does not work. What's wrong? Is that all, Ushiromiya Battler? It's not so easy once you get to the second game, right? It was a thundering exchange of red and blue truth. The stakes and wedges of the blue truth that I sent flying attacked one after another, and Beato cut them down one after another with the red truth, her red treasured sword knocking them down. But the blood she'd lost in the first game was probably serious. This intense exercise was putting an even greater strain on her. I could also see her breath grow ragged. That's why I can't hold back now. I'll corner that witch. This time I'll break through her. Not yet. It's useless. It's all useless. My twisted logic isn't finished yet. Then, what about this? The food that they were given had small bombs in it, which exploded from the inside of their stomachs. In other words, the crime was possible through Trap X. The exact nature of the bombs they could swallow without noticing, and which could also blow open their stomachs, is a devil's proof. I refuse to explain. What the hell is that? Small bombs? I mean, it would make more sense they were served food that had, like, crushed Mentos in it, and they drink Coca-Cola. But again, devil's proof. But Beato failed to knock down the blue wedge, as it flew at an angle like breaking pitch. It let out a loud thunk and gouged itself deep into her left shoulder. However, even as the breaking pitch hit her, her laughter didn't seem to be stopping. Yeah, I get it, even though I think the theory's pretty screwed up. Ha, laugh as much as you want. Got a problem with that? None. Quite a pleasurable, reckless argument. Next up is the closed room with Jessica and Cannon. No problems there. If the culprit was one of the servants, they could have used a master key. It's not even a closed room. After that, there was an attack in the server room from a mystery person who seemed to be Cannon, and Nanjo and Kumasawa were killed, right? I had already proclaimed Cannon's death in red before that time. So who was that Cannon? If Cannon-kun's death was proclaimed red, then there's no way he was alive. Therefore, there's a chance that the one who attacked the group was in disguise that made everyone mistakenly think it was Cannon-kun. They would never mistakenly think any other person was Cannon. Then, just like the hereditary of Kenzo's name, there's a possibility that Cannon's name was inherited by someone. You could suppose that Cannon-kun was killed, a different person succeeded that name, and that person attacked them. A sound like a watermelon being squashed rang out, and a blue wedge was buried deep into Beato's left flank. You mean her ass cheek? Maybe it hit in a bad place since it seemed to be really effective. After leaning over and moaning for a while, she laughed it off as though trying to make it seem like no big deal. Yeah, I will say this. While I agree with the idea, and it definitely makes sense for the way this family is, for the whole Kenzo Cannon name thing, though we never did get a real name for Cannon, before he was named Cannon, since technically these are servant names, and it's not his actual birth name. That being said, it's kind of a stupid thing. It makes sense for these people, but at the same time, it's dumb. And especially under these circumstances, why wouldn't you make it clear to people that would possibly misunderstand? In a situation where it's not only very serious, but also about something that would be almost set up to be intentionally misunderstood. That must have hurt a lot. Ha. Once again, you've set up some human as the culprit as if it were nothing. You truly are gabbing on about things you'd never be able to open your mouth and say on the game board. And yet it's valid. The reckless argument is pleasurable. Truly pleasurable. This isn't pain, it's pleasure. When Beato howled, the wedge that pierced her was blasted away, but the wound remained and she continued to be tormented by a fierce pain. You ready? I'll keep going. My blue truth for the last murder in the second game, the 3 who died in Natsui's room, would still be valid even with 18th person X denied. Do you have a counter-argument for that in red? If you don't, the second game is all mine too. No, I don't. Fighting over such trivial matters bores me. I'll give it to you. I'll give you the second game. Also, epilepsy for fucking Lunar's eyeballs. Gwog. The sound of Lunar's eyes. The instant she acknowledged her loss in the second game, 2 blue stakes gouged through Beato's chest this time. The witch's lungs were gouged, as were her intestines. Her face twisted in anguish, her body twisted as she gasped in pain. Does it hurt? Hurt? No, this just tickles. At least compared to having your entire body torn to bits and turned into a pile of scrap meat like your little sister. I'll make you scrap meat too. Then you siblings can be all mixed together like ground beef and pork. Giggle giggle kya. Arg. I'll beat you to death, I'll tear you to bits the same way. Next, the third game. How long are you gonna sit around all worn out like that? I've only just started knocking you down to hell. Naturally, as if something like this could wear me down. You're right, we're still just getting started. Come, let us begin the third game, starting with the 6 linked closed rooms. You supposedly did penetrate this closed room at the time, but then you killed off Kinzo. At the time, I theorized that Gramps was the culprit, and that after killing the other 5 and stringing the keys across each room, he'd constructed his own closed room in the boiler room, and that there he died in an accident while carrying out some kind of scheme, burning to death in the boiler. But now I've declared that Gramps was already dead, so I've denied my own theory myself, ironically enough. However, there's no problem. Plenty of people besides Gramps could have committed the crime. You could even claim that all of the adults holding the family conference were in on it. All 5 master keys were discovered, each in the pocket of one of the servants. The individual room keys were found inside envelopes alongside the corpses. In short, all keys related to linked closed rooms were inside the linked closed rooms. No key could have been returned from outside the room using the crack of the door, the crack of the window, vents, or any place of the sort. Then they were killed with poison gas. Even if a key couldn't pass through, gas could, right? The murder was carried out from outside the closed room. All of them had what appeared to be gunshot wounds that were fatal. Murdering them from the outside the room would have been impossible. I shall say more with the red. When the 5 other than Kinzo were killed, their killer was definitely in the same room as them. I am already proclaimed in red at the time that there were no suicides. After the murder of each person in the respective rooms, the culprit created a linked closed room, but the culprit had no way to return just the key to the very last room, and yet they were able to do it. After all, the first person to discover a corpse just had to pretend to find the key and pull it out from the pocket of one of the corpses. She couldn't fully block the retort of the blue stake. Beato was pushed back by the blue wedges that were unleashed on her one after another, finally failed to block one, and once again took a severe wound. As she howled in pain, she pulled out the blue wedge that had pierced her right arm. Beato's entire body had been torn apart and pierced with blue wedges, stakes and blades over and over again. Now she was totally covered in blood. But even so, Beato grinned, cackling as though this was amusing. Fwahaha, how could a man who promised to bring Angie's parents home voice a theory where those parents are culprits? Splendid, even that's just fine, right? Go be a big happy family, getting their hands dirty with mass murder, then return to Angie stained with blood that will never come off. How could we expect anything less from the people who returned alive from the witch's island? Just what that mincemeat Angie needs, yeah? Arg, shut up. I'll kill you. I'll tear you apart. No need to waste your time begging for your life. I'll definitely give you the worst kind of death by my own hands. Yes, you probably could do it. I have explored the depths of cruelty for over 1,000 years, and you probably will gift me with a fitting end for all that. Ooh, does that hurt? Is it harsh? Or does it tickle? Is that supposed to torment me? Come on, Ushiromiya Battler. There are still mysteries left. Beato had already countered my first powerful move, the 18th person X, by making the number of people on the island 17. But just limiting the number of people to 17 didn't overturn the theory that Aunt Ava was the culprit. I can crush most of the murders in the third game this way. Blood dripped from all over the body of the Golden Witch. I cornered this time thoroughly without mercy. This isn't a game played to decide who wins and who loses. Yeah, we aren't playing. Even the time I spent playing and fighting like this delays my trip home. In her isolation, Angie will continue to have her heart torn apart by loneliness and sadness. I have to go back to Angie as fast as I can. You're all worn out. Standing at death's door, are you? Cackle. It still doesn't burden me. Something like this. Cackle. It tickles. It looks like you don't need any mercy. I never asked for it in the first place. I'm going all out. Do so. When our roles were reversed, I showed no mercy, so you ought to do the same when given the chance. Otherwise, I'll summon another isolated Angie from a different world, and this time I'll tear off her arms and legs, stick her with a spear, and roast her, okay? Yeah. Shut up. Never again. Not my family, not my relatives, not any of the servants. I won't let you make them your playthings. I've already broken through all of the mysteries in the fourth game with the Blue Truth. The only one left is the very last one from the third game. Only the murder of Dr. Nanjo. Oh ho, have I already been cornered so far? Cackle, what a precarious state I'm in. Hee gog, cough, cough. She coughed violently, spitting up blood. Her insides had been punched through so many times. It was only natural. In other words, the mystery of Dr. Dodge's murder in the last line of defense for you being a witch, right? As you say. If you defeat that, it will mean all the mysteries have been defeated, unless I counter one of your truths with some new red truth or present a new mystery. This still leaves us, because if we do have a person X, then it means one of the people that's dead isn't actually dead and is still going to try to kill me. I will die. You don't look like someone who's been pushed into a corner standing on the brink. You still have some kind of hidden pitch up your sleeve, right? Well, who knows? I have already tired of a too long life. After 1,000 years, I've started to think that having this life ended by a rival like you, whom I stumbled upon at the very end, might not be so bad. You can do it, can't you? Do it. I beg you, kill me. I'm always the one killing, and I've never had the experience of being killed. I've killed the 18 of you hundreds of times, but I haven't been killed myself even once, so I wanted to experience it just once myself, Ki. It was a graceless show of boldness, unchanged from before, but blood dripped down from her mouth. Her once beautiful dress was covered with holes, and blood poured from all over her body, making her physical appearance stand in sharp contrast to her attitude. Maybe the shot she'd taken to the flank was still tormenting her, since she was still pressing down on it unconsciously without a trace of grace. But I've got no time for pity. As long as I feel sympathy for this witch, my family and I won't be released from this place. Until I defeat her, we won't be able to go home. In the outside world, it may be possible for even the enemies to understand each other when circumstances change, but pure evil does exist. Evil that brings misfortune just by existing and is to be spared no compromise. Just by its continued existence alone, it's evil. I don't pity you, just like how you didn't show pity for any of us. Well, of course, all of you are just pieces in the game. It's just unbelievably fun to think about which 6 to kill in the beginning, how to kill the next 2, and whether I can find a much, much more grotesque method of murder. You see, Hey, Battler, I've reformed a little, so forgive me this time, too. If you do, I'll change my methods of killing into something a little better, okay? I'll listen to how you want them to be killed, and in what order, got it? It's so fun toying with people's lives. I'm sure you can think of a way to turn Angie into a pile of scrap meat much more thoroughly. Come, Battler, try to expose the truth of Nanjo's murder. The 18th person X has been defeated, but I won't give in. I'll stop that witch breathing cold. I'll stop that witch's breathing cold. The end of the third game. It was announced in red that the survivors at that point in the time were Battler, Ava, Jessica, and Nanjo were all involved with Nanjo's murder, and it was also proclaimed that he was murdered directly by someone before his eyes. All other people had the strongest possible alibi by having their deaths proclaimed in red. I'll break through this without using the 18th person X. Think. Don't stop thinking. Her red doesn't only bind me, it also is supposed to be her weak point. I've got to somehow use it against her. That's right, there's still a gap. Or a gape. Yeah, this way I can break through it. This way Beatrice's legend of the witch is finished. True, the others probably were dead. However, their deaths were not proclaimed in red at the instant Dr. Nanjo died. Strictly speaking, it was in a fight between me and Ava. Strictly speaking, it was in the fight between me and Ava after Dr. Nanjo's corpse was found. In other words, if someone was alive at the time Dr. Nanjo was killed and then died before Ava made that proclamation, you can sew right through the crack. In other words, it's like this. Someone who was first confirmed dead by Ava's proclamation was a culprit. They cleverly played dead earlier and waited for us to come and go. Before their death was announced in red, we were made to think that they'd died. Then they killed Dr. Nanjo and later died for some reason. After that, Ava proclaimed their deaths in red. That theory can explain Dr. Nanjo's case. How's that, Beatrice? When he forcefully asked the question, there was a terrible sound that could only be likened to that of a compressor. And a blue stake that was as thick as a log appeared from under the earth and skewered the golden witch, Beato, pulling her up into the air. Ugly tearing sounds rang out, and each time a blue stake or wedge would appear and pierce Beatrice's body. When that finally ended, her tragic form was exposed there, pin-cushioned by more than 10 stakes, and wedges all over her body and dripping with blood, dangling and crucified. There was none of that dignity of the brutal witch, who had sneered at the honor of the dead and toyed with and killed hundreds of the living. The rain which had started falling at some point quietly tormented the crucified witch. As Battler heaved with his breathing, he waited for some kind of answer from the Golden Witch. Although it wasn't long, it took the witch a bit of time to show any signs of life. It hurts. It hurts. You got what you deserved. Now you can experience a portion of the pain felt by all those you've killed. Even as he said that, it seemed Battler had lost a little of his momentum at this extremely pathetic sight. Even if it was an enemy, he couldn't look straight at a woman exposed in such a brutal fashion. But even so, unless he destroyed Beatrice, this battle wouldn't end. Battler, I beg you. Hick. Huh? Beato let out a sob. It hurts. It really hurts. End it. End it. Even with this, I still can't die. Even though it hurts so much, I still can't die. What are you asking of me? End it. Release me from this pain. Beato's expression was soaked with blood and tears. Battler certainly had been tricked by her at one point, so he was probably able to suspect that her expression, that even her tears were an act. However, Battler believed in those tears. After all, those tears had the red truth mixed in with them. What should I do? What can I do to end your pain? I will now expose everything. This is my heart. Your heart? Ilmi. Beato. Kill me. Just let me die. Were those tears from pain and torment, or else? Either way, that pathetic expression was painful for Battle to look at, even after burning with such anger. Quickly, go back to Angie. I'll listen to your request, not so that I can go back, but to end your pain. Then, thank you, Battler. In her last breath, Beato summoned up all of her remaining strength and managed to close both of her hands into fists. A red light began to gather at those fists. Then she lifted her arms as though appealing to the heavens for something. You'll be able to kill me. All of me. My heart. Crush it. Pierce it. Okay? The red light around both her arms gradually began to strengthen. She's using the Kaioken. Please. After saying that much, her face tilted to the side a bit. Then her right arm lost its light and flopped down. But her left arm alone did not lose its light and remained held out towards the heavens. Then, before Battler's eyes, another Beato appeared with a faint form, transparent like a curtain. The crucified Beato had already lost consciousness. However, the newly appeared faint Beato quietly looked at me, her eyes expressionless, and spoke. Ushiromiya Battler, I will now kill you. And right now, there is no one other than you on this island. The only one alive on this island is you. Nothing outside the island can interfere. I understand. This is the last mystery Beatrice will be able to make as a witch. She's trying to offer it to me, entreating me to solve this final mystery and kill her. Do it. I'll accept your final mystery. You are all alone on this island, and of course, I am not you. Yet I am here now, and am about to kill you. Like a souped-up version of Dr. Nanjo's murder. So, who am I? Is that your final question? Who am I? Then Beatrice slowly approached me and, still expressionless, held me. Yeah, I get it, Beato. I'll kill you, don't worry. I also slowly held her head. Then I, as a piece, left the game board. Died on the 10th Twilight. Oh, we're going back to the discussion of episode 3. Oh, no, that's... yeah, her death with cannon. Or not. Renove Genji? What? Renove and Genji is the same name. Ah, we couldn't forget all of the goats. Do I ever get to see the Cheister sister that died? Fourth game, Alliance of the Golden Witch. The end. Complete the fourth tea party. Well, we're getting... I think we will finish the end of the question arcs in this video. There are 3 more achievements. I'm checking the Steam page. What are the 3 missing achievements? Okay, read episodes 1 through 4. Game Master level 1. And of course, there's 2 hidden achievements, which we'll find out probably in quick succession. Welcome to the Tea Party of those who are not human. Unknown. Kakarot numbers. Scattered on a large bed were cute jelly beans of various colors. And chocolates shaped like hajiki pieces? I don't know what that is. A fork was stuck into a shortcake peeking out of a gift box. There were decanters with drinks of various colors lined up on the side of the table, but the color of the partially finished drink that had been poured into a cup was venomous, matching none of the decanters. Someone had probably been playing around mixing various things together. That can be lots of fun if you don't mind the taste. On top of that, the fluffy bed were several colorful big pillows like something from a dream. And on this bed that looked like something out of a child's dream world, Burn Castell lay face down, and Lambda Delta lay face up, clutching a pillow and relaxing. Aha, it was a pretty thrilling this time, wasn't it? I got really panicky when Beato said she'd stop the game. What a rude witch to start a game like this and try to end it by throwing it away. Wasn't Angie a good piece? After Beato ran for it, Angie dragged her back and made her resume the game. Although it's a shame that she gave Battler a little too much enthusiasm. After all, I knew Battler was a softie. No kidding. He looked like he might even go easy on Beato, his enemy. I was uneasy that, like the last game, he might actually feel compassion for Beato and take the game in a weird direction. Angie was a trump card to get Battler back on track when he mistook his goal, although I wanted her to support him a bit more before using her up. She really did get used right off the bat. What a waste for a piece that required so much preparation. Haha. Good thing I shackled her with that rule about not giving her name. If that hadn't been set up, the brother-sister tag team would have swallowed Beato up and won in the blink of an eye. I thought it'd be a chance for them to press her all at once, but your mark was so restrictive that I couldn't make the best use of her. Ah, what a waste that piece was. Isn't it obvious that such an unfair piece would have to be retired right away? Well, in the end, she did a good job of preventing the suspension of the game, and that helps me out too. That way she made both our interests match, and is what made her a truly wonderful piece. She was an innocent kid like Battler, so it was easy to get her to do as I said. Morons and impulsive types make the best pieces. Ah, I really can't stand losing that piece. Is Battler and Beatrice just going to walk through the door and be like, hey guys, tying up loose ends. Bye now. That kid's mincemeat. Hey, let's make hamburgers out of her later on. Oh wait, didn't you like gyoza more? I wonder what little sister tastes like. Giggle hilarious. Is it really okay for you to be so relaxed? Thanks to Angie, Battler has gotten all fired up. I'm pretty sure he's started a hot pursuit of Beato, making this game take a big turn in my favor, right? I mean, didn't Battler just solve almost all of the mysteries up until now? Huh? Not even close. Almost all of Battler's blue truth was wrong. Beato's lukewarm red was full of holes. If she had any brains in her, she'd slip through it easily by setting up a suitable web of twisted logic. Yeah, it really ticks me off. If it were me, I'd thoroughly cut down all of it with the red. Oh, really? And I was sure that those were all correct. Well, I don't know about that small bomb part, though. Not all of Battler's blue truths were valid. When talking about the first game, Beato clearly declared that she guaranteed the identities of all unidentified corpses. This defeats Battler's theory about the culprit of the Eva Hideyoshi closed room murder being someone who faked up a corpse. Next, Cannon might have died in an accident in the boiler room, but, giggle, what kind of accident could drive a stake into his chest? Are you a moron? I'll slice it with the red treasured sword thing. Cannon did not die in an accident. For the next one, the murders of the three include Genji in the parlor, the thought that it was simultaneous murder where they shot each other in a clockwise pattern at the same time is laughable. Genji, Kumasawa, and Najo are not killers. The final trap X to kill Natsui was also ridiculous. The thing that shot Natsui wasn't a trap, it was a real shooting murder with a gun raised and trigger pulled. Giggle, sucks for you. You shouldn't do that. Saying something like that in red. That kid's trying to say that she's bounced Natsui's bullet back with magic and killed her. Oh my, how terrible of me, you're right. Even the blue truth for the second game was way too naive. When the six were murdered in the chapel, the culprit was already inside the chapel. That guy keeps trying to explain things using Trap X. What the heck is Trap X? Some weird mystery novel cliche? It's also laughable to say that in the case where Nanjo and Kumasawa were killed in the servant room, someone else inherited Cannon's name. No one else can go by Cannon's name. A different person can't claim that is theirs. And that theory about borrowing the master key from Rosa for Natsui's room is also worthless. After the master keys came into Rosa's control, never did any of them leave her hands, except for the time when she lent one to Battler to unlock Natsui's room. I can keep on going, but just taking a quick look at them turns out like this. Get it? Forget taking a quick look. You've just denied Battler's blue truth for the first and second games across the board. My, what a shame. If Battler heard, he'd faint. Right? Beato wasn't cornered at all. Looks like that kid's a pretty good actress after all. I'm sure she planned to make it look like she was getting cornered this game. And then, sometime next game, bang, she'll slice it up with a single red stroke to make Battler freak. Giggle, and then I'm sure she'll say it again with a huge smile, witches never get into a pinch. Piffed, giggle, giggle. Then, that whole tragic atmosphere as though Beato was getting cornered was all an act. Isn't it obvious? She really is a great actress. Even though she wasn't cornered at all, it felt like an astonishing last episode climax. She's totally the winner for the best supporting actress this year. Oh, but of course, I'm the star. You do fine too, Burn. At the end, she said something like kill me and laid out a big riddle. Wasn't that her last stand with Beato to be finished for good if that riddle was solved? Giggle. Come on, were you seriously tricked too, Burn? That wasn't even close to a last stand. Beato's still holding back a killer hidden move. When she stuck out both hands to give the final riddle, did you notice how she lowered her right hand? Yeah, now that you mention it. Is that what you meant? Sure is. That kid still had plenty of hidden moves left, and none of the mysteries had been solved. That tension, like she'd been exposed, and the next episode would be the last. She truly is a genius at acting. Yeah, I want to see her knock Battler down to the very bottom right away. That kid's been totally encouraged by her North Wind in the Sun strategy from the last time, right? I'm sure Battler will sympathize with Beato again and fall for it completely. After all, a single tear from a woman can fool a man and totally economical and profitable. I wonder if Battler will get caught by the same move again. I've got to spur him on so he never feels sympathy again. Although Angie's mincemeat seems to have done that pretty well. A power-up from an Angie-flavored hamburger. Oh ho ho! Of course I won't lose either. Starting here, I'll thoroughly support Beato to rally her up enough to compete with Battler. Beato won't lose. I mean, I'm threatening her with a wonderful punishment game if she loses. Your punishment games are seriously not cool, so you should go a little easy on her. I've decided what to do for your next punishment game, Burn. Wanna hear? No. Come on, ask me. Guess what? I'll lock you in a wonderful, wonderful castle. That castle will be surrounded by pure white castle walls 12 kilometers to a side, with a height of 10 meters. Magic and tricks are prohibited. You really couldn't jump over that, right? 1,440,000,000 cubic meters. You can't stop there. I already know what you're going to say. And that place will start getting buried with gems, one every day. I'll lock you in it until the castle walls are packed with them, and you've been buried to death with gems. Isn't that a wonderful romantic punishment game? If you multiply the length of the walls by 5 and make it 1/10 its current height, I wouldn't mind you shut me in right away. Really? That would make it... The time period for the punishment game would be more than double, right? I get to keep you as my prisoner for such a long time. I really like you, Burn. I love you. Lambda Delta playfully approached Burn Castell, who yawned, looking bored as she touched the bottom of Lambda Delta's chin as though cuddling a cat. You're betting on Battler's victory, and I'm betting on an eternal tie for the two of them. Doesn't that mean no one's betting on Beato's victory? I wouldn't. Her chances of winning are 0. Oh? How truly pitiful, being told by the Witch of Miracles that there's no chance of a miracle. Although I wouldn't bet on her either, right? I can say that with certainty. It is also pretty sad when the Witch of Certainty says that you're certainly screwed. Unusually for them, they giggle together. I wonder how this game will resolve itself. Yes. Yeah, that's the one thing we can't predict. That's why it's fun. I won't permit escaping or suspensions any longer. I'll certainly make them continue their game, and I won't let them run away. Even though I can't even imagine what will happen next, I know it certainly won't end that way. At the very least, it won't end with Beato's victory. I mean, think about it. Neither of us is betting on Beato's victory. In other words, if it looks like Beato is going to win, she'll have us two great witches as enemies. Exactly. Our powers are most in equilibrium when balancing between a tie and Battler's advantage. If it tips too much in Beato's favor, both of us will line up along the same vector and drag Beato back. In other words, the instant Beato's in a superior position, she'll have to deal with both of us as enemies. A common front with Burn sounds fun. Thanks. But I'm not going into a Completo candy bath with you. And I was going to cover you with melted marshmallows while taking a Completo shower. How pitiful. That child is a living toy, a doll you caught, so that you could play with me, Lambda. I'm good at playing with dolls. I really can do it well, okay? I'm proud of being able to play with a single toy for hundreds of years without getting tired of it. You're her ally at some times and oppose her at others. Toying with her for all eternity. How pitiful, that kid is now our doll. That's right, that kid is our doll. No end has been prepared for that kid except the ones that the two of us desire. In other words, I can say for sure that this can only end by repeating a tie for eternity because of me, or else with Beato losing and being destroyed because of you, Burn. As far as this game ending with Beato's victory goes, I will proclaim it as the Witch of Miracles. Then I will proclaim it as the Witch of Certainty. Beato certainly cannot win, and a miracle certainly will not occur. Ah ha ha ha. They are both laughing. Kinda odd to see Burn Castell giving that face. I don't know how Rika Furude would react to seeing that. I don't know how Keiichi, or Mion, or Shion, or Rena, or Satoko would feel about it either. Or any of the other characters from Higurashi. Again, do you guys say Hinamizawa or Hinamizawa? Okay, there's apparently 3 more. Like, obviously, okay, I'm gonna get there's a Steam achievement for this, reading this section, and then for reading everything, but how is there a 3rd one? Speed reading? Like, go do it quickly? Or is there like an extra thing opened up? Like a music area or something? I'm gonna get an achievement for like listening to music. I don't know. Also, again, I know there's a character called Erika Furude. Or Farouk something. Some character that has a name similar to Bernkastel and to Rika Furude. And as far as I know, they were supposed to exist in episode 4. But I have no idea who or how or even what's left of the story. And like I said, the answer arcs are a whole different, game thing on Steam. So it's all, yeah. Additional features. Prepared gift. Okay. The beginning. Complete the 4th hidden tea party. Okay, different title screen. Okay, I see music box. Why does that look like a knife? Skip scary tunes. Play scary tunes only. Demo mode, 1 minute mode. I mean, okay, I guess I'm just never getting that achievement, which, should have loaded. Community hub, guides. Why is it in Russian? and go to Google. Missable tip entries. Okay. So I had the right idea. A specific secret in the episode 4 tips. Went to hell embraced by the witch, but to the witch, that hell was the golden land. Well, that just made me feel sad. I'm going to have to actually look up the name of that achievement. Like, what is it? Weapon 556. A weapon of the Sisters' Cavalry, which serves Pendragon. 556 was quiet and often teased, but she was loved by everyone. However, her luck was always bad, and she met a tragic end in battle against the Black Witch. She was cutting-edge weapon unique in the Sisters' Cavalry, which tended to serve as honor guards. 556 was in charge of the squad fire support. She sought not to kill, but to protect her allies. There we go. A quiet girl who's always teased by everybody. But that's because everybody loves her. The trumpet is her specialty. Everyone skips to her lively tune. Well, that's nice. By the way, not waiting for the future games to find this out. What is Battler Ushiromiya's sin? I'm looking that up. Battler's sin is that he forgot the promise he made to Beatrice. How does this help me? And of course, that would be the final mystery is, who is Beatrice? Because after all, if Battler is alone on the island, how is someone supposed to kill him? Okay. I found the answer. Shannon. I should have given you guys a spoiler warning. Then again, anyone listening to this doesn't care. Shannon. Shannon is Beatrice. Also, the original sin is that Battler forgot the promise he made to Shannon when he was 12 or like 11 years old, saying that he would come rescue her on a white horse, which then, he felt embarrassed about. But he had forgotten it. It also means Shannon the whole time was in love with Battler. And remember at the start of episode 1, Battler made a joke about fondling Shannon's boobs. But knowing this, Shannon would have actually suggested it herself if he had never said anything. So she never actually was really into George. She actually was... Her true love was Battler the whole time, and she had been in love with Battler since before George even had the first thought of being interested in Shannon. This also means Shannon is the culprit, or at least someone strongly involved in all this. Okay, one more question. Who is Erica? Because I'm so curious about that. But that is interesting. So the sin that he did was that he forgot. But here's the thing. It means, one, Shannon is Beatrice. So Beatrice is Shannon, and it means any of those discussions that occurred with Beatrice was actually Shannon. And that all of this happened because Shannon was Erica Ferrudo. Erica Ferrudo is a central character and primary antagonist in the later arcs of Umineko no Endon Golden Witch, serving as the Witch of Truth and a detective piece created by Byrne Castell to challenge Beatrice and Battler. She is characterized as an arrogant, ruthless, highly intelligent, yet insecure okay. That word has to have a different meaning in this context, right? It's an actual term. Intellectual rapist who seeks to destroy the illusion of magic through cold logic. It's an actual trope. It's not formally defined clinical or legal term, but is a metaphorical concept describing a person who uses their intellect, charisma, or power to manipulate, dominate, and violate someone else's emotional, mental, or intellectual autonomy. This involves coercive control, where the perpetrator intellectually undermines the victim to gain mastery or compliance, similar to how uses intimidation and control to assert dominance. That being said, given the fact that Erica Ferrudo is a central character created by Byrne Castell, like there's a screenshot here where she's looking at Byrne Castell, who is giving a very evil smile. Yes, my master. Master's gonna scratch my back. Okay, so Erica Ferrudo is created by Byrne Castell to be such a role, and they're literally interacting in a way here to where Byrne Castell is literally Emperor Palpatine. How could you, my master? Lady lambed it out. It looks like there's not enough room for the two of us. Don't know what's happening. And I assume if... Okay, there's like a really tall nun Beatrice here for some reason, being yelled at by Erica. Oh yeah, very good. One more time. Like, what is happening in the context of... Like, we're going to see whatever's happening here eventually. Why is the golden-haired Beatrice a nun now? Or a servant or a maid? Like, what is happening? I don't know. And here she is. And again, it's actually a scene from one of the future games. Of course it isn't, and she looks like she's having an orgasm. Or... Dang, you're dim. Stupid man, you totally fell for it and gave me the tape. Furuto Erica has duct tape. Okay, and we have... And Burn Costello here is looking like she's getting off on this. So, the witch ascension of Rika Furude from Higurashi is being sexually gratified by her creation of Anakin Skywalker doing stuff, while Lambda Delta's over here looking like she's both terrified and on meth. Okay, here's a description of her. Furuto Erica fell from the pleasure boat External Maid 2 mid-cruise in the waters near Rokkenjima. What? On October 4th, 1986, she drifted to Rokkenjima. The Ushiromi family welcomed her as a guest. She managed to drift to the island unharmed thanks to several miracles, including the life jacket she was wearing. Okay. The fuck? That being said, yeah, this gives us stuff to be utterly confused by in the next 4 episodes. Anyway, that's it for the question arcs. Now all that's left is the answer arcs. We're now officially halfway through the story. And apparently the story is going to have additional people thrust into the story that normally shouldn't have existed. And we never did get to see the servant who like hurt their back. Real quick, can I look that up real quick? I want to know. Okay. First off, it's Shannon again. And it happened because she fell off the rock cliff as a child, which kind of mirrors that one story you heard when she was a child. So it means when Rosa found Shannon, but Shannon would have been younger or something, or maybe there was the real older Beatrice that was held captive that died, and then she fell too. But also it's an ongoing back injury, so Shannon has back problems. I don't know. Anyway, that's the end of that. I really do need to make shorter videos. Bye.